best practices for cyclists. So this is going to repeat a little bit of stuff, but then I want to talk specifically about where to be in lanes at intersections. Bicyclists should be predictable in their movements. Don't surprise the motorists. If everybody knows where everybody should be going, then it'll be a lot safer. So don't make sudden lane changes. Plan them ahead of time, and signal your turns and lane changes, just as you would in a vehicle. Signal the turns before you make them. Check to see that it's safe. You don't need to keep signaling as you make the turn. When you're making the turn, it's going to be better if you have both hands on the handlebars of your bike. So you're not required to do that. And you're also not required to signal if it's going to be unsafe for you to do that. When the lane is too narrow to share safely with other vehicles, ride in the center of the lane to discourage other vehicles from overtaking you unsafely. Should put a great big star by this one, or I should put a great big star by this one. This is key. Some roads in Rochester have lanes that are 14 feet wide, and those are wide enough to share. But if it's only 11 feet wide, and the city is actually changing a lot of lanes to 11 feet wide, then you don't want to share, and you want to ride in that center so that cars will not be able to squeeze around you. Also, ride clear of parked cars. The area next to a car is called the door zone, and that's a bad place for you to be. If somebody opens a car door and you're too close, the car door is either going to hit you or you're going to run into it. It's not a good thing. Actually, last night I was riding downtown and a cyclist felt the need to pass me on the right. I don't really know why. And he passed really close to some parked cars, and I was just aghast. Not appropriate. Next slide. Okay, here's the big deal. Lane positioning at intersections. This is key because 80% of motorist and cyclist crashes occur at intersections. The goal is that you're going to position yourself such that vehicles behind you will not cross your line of travel. The strategy is to use the rightmost lane that takes you in the direction you're going. So if we go to the next slide, the next 3 slides are going to have little diagrams that I'm going to walk you through here. So down at the bottom of the diagram, you see 3 cyclists lined up. And they're just showing that there's 3 different directions you can go from this 2-lane road. I personally am not 100% favorable with this diagram, because what I think is that if you're turning right, so the rightmost rider there is going to be turning right, I would actually be somewhere in the right half of the lane, not quite so far over to the right. If I'm going to be going straight through that intersection, I'm going to be right in the center of the lane and follow the line of travel, as you can see in the diagram. If I'm going to turn left, I'm going to be in the left half, not scooched all the way over to the left, because I would worry about a vehicle trying to come up next to me on the right side. You're going to turn left when you don't have a problem with oncoming traffic. So that's a very common kind of intersection to be at, but you really want to take the right position. So even if you don't have your arm out, the drivers behind you are going to know where you're going. Next slide. This is a combination right turn and through lane. Again, you're going to position yourself in the right half of the lane. If you're going to turn right, you'll position yourself in the left half of that right lane to go straight through. There shouldn't be anybody in the left-hand through lane that wants to cross your line of travel. They should be going straight through since they're in that lane. Okay, so you get the idea, I hope, how this is working. Next slide. In this situation, there's 2 left turn lanes. This also applies to 1 left turn lane. I actually don't like the position of the rider in this diagram. I would sit right in the middle of that rightmost lane that's turning left and follow the path of travel as long as there's no oncoming traffic. All right, next slide. So the summary of all this lane positioning is choose the rightmost lane that takes you to your destination and position yourself appropriately in that lane so the drivers know what you're planning to do. And I emphasize again, do not share a lane with a vehicle if it is too narrow to do so safely. I just want to add on to the end here that a lot of this information is in the bicycling handbook that's published by the Bicycle Alliance of Minnesota. We have these available in Rochester for free. If you want a copy, you can pick one up at the Rochester Public Library. If you don't, they seem to be out at the moment, we can get more. So the next time you come by the library, there'll be some there. So thanks for listening. I hope you learned something.